Something feels different, doesn't it? It's like beneath the surface of everything we think we know, a whole new set of unwritten rules has started to run our economy. You won't find them in any textbook, and they're not what people are debating on the news, but you can feel their effects everywhere. So let's decode them together. And this right here, this is the central paradox of our time. It's the question on everyone's mind. How is it possible for markets to be hitting these incredible, unprecedented highs, while at the same time, so many households feel like the ground is just falling away from under them? This disconnect, it's the key to understanding this entire new economic landscape. So, on one side of the equation, you've got this incredible corporate strength. JP Morgan's analysis is pretty clear on this. Even with all the challenges in the world, corporate America is just powering ahead. Earnings are up, margins are expanding. It's a picture of really profound health. But then you look at the other side, the reality for households, and the story is completely different. Data from Earnest Analytics shows consumer spending in the U.S. actually fell by 3.4% year over year in February. Now, even if you adjust for the leap year, spending was basically flat. I mean, the contrast couldn't be more stark. So how do we even begin to explain it? Well, it all starts with our first rule. This is it. This is the big one. The foundational principle you have to get your head around. The stock market and the real economy that you and I live in every single day, they are two fundamentally different things. They run on different engines. They respond to totally different signals. JP Morgan's analysis really breaks this down for us. Main Street, the economy of our daily lives, it runs on things like services, rent, healthcare, going out to eat. It's powered by our paychecks. Wall Street, though, totally different world. That's all about technology, manufactured goods, and this is the crucial part, global profits. And if you look at the S&P 500, which is really the market's main benchmark, it's just dominated by technology. That one sector makes up over a third of the entire index. When you combine that with other goods-related sectors, you see a picture that looks nothing like the services-heavy economy where most of us actually live and work. And here is another absolutely critical number, again from JP Morgan. Almost a third of all S&P 500 revenue comes from overseas. And for those big tech companies that lead the whole index, that number is actually over half. This global reach basically insulates the market from a slowdown that's just happening here at home. What happens in America is only part of its story. This quote from JP Morgan Private Bank really just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up our first rule. The two worlds are drifting apart. But look, this is only the first piece of the puzzle. Let's move on to the next rule. Okay, the second major force at play here is a technological revolution that's really unlike anything we've seen before. AI isn't just a new product or a cool new tool. No, it's a fundamental restructuring of the entire economic landscape, and it's throwing gasoline on the fire of that divergence we just talked about. Analysts over at Charles Schwab, they're calling this the cascade phase. This is that exact moment when AI breaks out from just a handful of tech giants and starts to literally flood every single industry out there. And in this phase, it's important to remember, it doesn't just create, it also destroys. So on one side, you have the creators. These are the sectors that are figuring out how to use AI to get a massive advantage. We're talking about companies that are mastering automation, completely changing medical diagnostics, or building the next generation of defense systems. These are the designated winners of this whole new era. But for every creator, there's a casualty. This cascade is just hammering established industries. Old software models, routine knowledge work, even things like consulting and content creation, they are all facing immense pressure as AI comes in and automates their core value, squeezing their profits and threatening their very existence. This quote from Schwab's report just captures the shift perfectly. The whole conversation has changed. It's no longer just about who's going to make money, it's about who's going to survive. This is a high-stakes game of musical chairs, and it makes it crystal clear why some sectors can be soaring while others are facing a genuine crisis. So the third and final rule. This one operates at the national level. And it's this fundamental tension, this push and pull between what the government is doing in the short term and the country's long-term financial reality. It is a paradox, and it pretty much defines this moment we're in. In the short term, you see that policy is all about providing relief. The Working Families Tax Cut Act of 2025 is a perfect example. It's a huge initiative designed to put more money directly into people's pockets, right now. And you can see it right here. The standard deduction, which is what lowers a household's taxable income, has gone up for everyone. For a married couple filing together, that's over $2,000 in additional deductions. This is real, immediate financial help. But, and this is the big but, this leads us to the other side of the paradox. What is the long-term price we're paying for all of this short-term relief? 200%. That's the number that haunts anyone looking at the country's finances. The U.S. Government Accountability Office projects that on our current path, the national debt is going to hit a staggering 200% of GDP by 2047. That's the unsustainable future we are borrowing from to pay for today. So let's bring it all together. You've got these three huge rules: the market disconnect, the AI restructuring, and this fiscal paradox. Let's look at the real-world impact they're having on the ground right now. This is what that reality actually looks like in the numbers. Data from HUD and Earnest Analytics shows this clear cooling trend on Main Street. Sales of new homes, existing homes, both are declining. Housing starts are falling. And like we saw at the very beginning, consumer spending is basically flat. This is the tangible economy, the one people actually feel, even while the market keeps telling a much stronger story. And caught right in the middle of all these competing forces is the Federal Reserve. Inflation is cooling, which is good, but the path forward is so murky that policymakers are divided. They're choosing to just hold rates steady for now. And that caution, that hesitation, it just reflects the deep uncertainty that these powerful, conflicting rules have created. Which leaves us with one final and really critical question. When the market is not the economy, when technology disrupts just as much as it creates, and when our fiscal policy seems to prioritize today over tomorrow, who ultimately pays the price? In this new economy, who gets left behind?